Hi, I'm Lauren Robinson, and this year in ISM, I'm studying graphic design and art, but mostly graphic design. And from the time I learned how to use a pencil, I was already drawing constantly. Now flash forward 15 or so years from then, and I'm still drawing all the time. Nothing has changed. So I knew that was my passion in life, and if it's something that I love to do, I should pursue a career in it. And that's exactly what I plan on. Oh, maybe I need to go back through everything. Ignore this. Okay, so about me. I'm in National Art Honor Society, and I'm the president for that, and in HOSA, Health Occupation Students of America, and I'm in NHS, I do varsity cheer, in THS, which is National Technical Honor Society, Leo Club, I do art all the time, and I go to Zambia, Africa to help orphans. And here's a video that tells about graphic design. It's kind of annoying at the beginning. Just okay, that told about graphic design gave you a visual of sort of what we do. Graphic design is taking an idea or concept and creating a visually appealing design to represent what you're trying to say. So you could do logos or advertising, web pages, posters, digital art, which is just like normal art but on the computer. And then there's so much more, and here's a few things that I did. So I made me and my sisters into Rapunzel from Tangled, or like Disney characters, on Photoshop, and then you can always like play around with things. And then I did the senior class t-shirts and designed them with typography. And art and graphic design, they go hand in hand because you can always use your creative brain that you previously had from doing art into graphic design. I started doing art before I even like knew what graphic design was, and just drawing and already practicing that creative side helped me a lot whenever I got into graphic design. And being able to illustrate my own pictures and images so I can use them for my designs is also really helpful, because a lot of graphic designers will go and hire some artist to draw something, which I've done for some people before. Oh no, I think I broke it. And so I got money for that, but then I'd be able to save money by just drawing my own things. And these are the people that I've interviewed so far. I have one more today. So the first person I interviewed was Misty Foster, who was Coach Goff's friend, and she was so sweet. And I met her at her house in her art studio, and it was so cool to see that whole little space, because I've always wanted my own art studio. And she's a painter, and she sells her artwork and also holds classes at her studio and does a lot more. She's an amazing artist, and she really inspired me to continue doing art with no matter what path I choose. Then I met with Kristen Reese, who is a graphic designer for Shutterfly. They create cards, and you might have heard of them. My mom uses Shutterfly all the time, like Christmas or whatever. And they have invitations or birthday, oh, that's an invitation also, but thank you cards. And she does a lot of typography, so that's playing with fonts and words and also graphics. And she helped me a lot to understand like that there's certain styles that everyone uses, and you don't have to try all these different ideas just perfect like what you're best at, because she has a simple, clean style, and I really like that. But I don't have the same style as her. She just let me understand that. And then I met with Leah Ratliff, who is an art director for Frisco Style magazine. So she does more of the page layouts for magazines and making sure that everything is printing right, which I never really thought about the printing side of graphic design, and it sounds really complicated because you have to make sure you have the right amount of ink for a certain page and all the colors are correct with the ink in the printer and on the computer. So I learned a lot from her. And then my last one was Katie Arani, and we had a really good bond at first, but she walked into Starbucks and didn't know that she was supposed to be meeting me, and so we were sitting at like literally almost the same table, like a few feet away from each other, and just like sitting there, and she's like, "Oh, I just walked in," and I was like, "Oh, are you Katie?" Yeah, it was kind of funny at first, but she's a graphic designer and an art director, and she helped me understand more of what an art director does. And for graphic design, she works for Neiman Marcus, and she loves it because she gets to use fashion with graphic design and come up with really cool concepts for whatever style they have that season. And she gave me a few ideas of what she does, like some of her projects, and they sounded like an ideal job, and I just want to have like exact career that she has, but of course it's going to be different. But she also does art directing, and she sets up commercials and kiosks at airports and designs those kind of things. And some of the things that she does for commercials is she sits down with the person making the commercial, and then they come up with an idea, and then she'll pick out people to have the part in it, and then what they're gonna wear and the camera angles and how the light's gonna shine through. And that sounded like something I could see myself doing that also. And just like combining those two jobs sort of just made me realize that I don't have to just do graphic design. I can also do other art things as well. And for this year in ISM, I am planning to create a fundraising event for a girl named Ruth, who is an orphan in Africa that I met when I was there on my trip. She burned, or her whole head and ear and her hand was burned in a house fire when she was a baby, and they found her and brought her back to the medical tent and realized that she needed surgery and a lot of medical attention, and she is sponsored by an American who doesn't know how she's going to raise all that money. So in order to help, I decided to use art to raise the medical expenses for her, and or at least some of them, because it's a lot. So I'm creating sort of an art gallery walkthrough market type thing where I have a lot of artists come in and they can donate their artwork so people can walk around and then see it and buy some, and all the money will go to Ruth. And okay, so my quote that spoke out to me is, "Don't aim for success if you want it, just do what you love and believe in, and it will come naturally," by David Frost. And that kind of summarizes my whole idea for the future, I guess, and what I want to do in ISM and my career, because I was always thinking, like, how am I gonna make a career doing art? And I wasn't really sure, like, if I could be successful in that and actually make money. And then that said, you shouldn't aim for success just because you want to make a lot of money, but if you're doing what you love, you'll always end up doing well, basically. So I decided to stick with art because that's what I love to do and could do all the time, and then I'll eventually become successful from it if it's what I'm best at. All right. Thank you, everybody.